Hello everyone, I thought I would do this introduction video for my next guest, which is Joe Borello from Launch Finance. Joe and I are talking about what's happening in the lending world at the moment. So I've broken the video up into two parts for you. Part one, you should be watching if you're a first home buyer or you're thinking of purchasing your first property. And part two, you should be watching if you currently have an existing loan. So I hope you enjoy it and thank you very much for watching. Very good. All right, hello everyone, it's Tina Wilton here from Carlin Team. I'm sitting here with Joe Borello from Launch Finance. He is one of my guests, my expert finance broker. So as I said, he's going to be answering my questions and also letting us know about the queries that he gets about what's happening in all lending facilities, money, world, the whole bit. So first of all, I know a little bit about what you've been doing and that sort of thing, but if you can let everyone know a bit about your background.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, Dana. Thanks for the invite. Looking forward to having a chat. So I started way back in 2001 with Home Building Society, so a local WA bank. Did a bit of an apprenticeship there and eventually got into the mortgage broking world, which is what usually happens. You go into a bank, learn everything, and then come out and go into finance broking. Started with a small company in WA that had a really good team and learnt a lot. That was a proper apprenticeship. Used to look after brokers, management of files and stuff. So really learned a lot from that role. And then in 2014, myself and some other guys that worked together, we decided to start our own business called Launch Finance and keep it as a nice small boutique mortgage broking firm, but offer really good customer service and the ability for people to really understand their finances and work one-on-one with us. So
yeah, sure.
That's been going really well for the last 4 years.
Oh, good.
We'll come up to 5 years now.
Okay.
2019, yeah.
Oh, excellent.
5 years.
So just on that, just to answer people who are watching about what you do as far as people can call you anytime. It doesn't cost them anything.
Yeah.
Work, you're flexible, work weekends, that sort of thing. Someone's out there, someone like me is a little bit impatient, wants answers straight away, might be out there pounding the streets looking at properties and really find something they fall in love with, pick up the phone and they go, we want to talk to someone. You're available to do that.
Yep. So first of all, we get paid by the lender that settles on the loan application, okay? So we might meet today and we might talk on the weekend, meet up for a meeting, and you might not do anything now. There's no charge for that. There's no fee passed on by anyone at my firm for that. We work together, and in 2 years you buy a property or things like that, we get paid then, okay? So we're available after hours, we're available on the weekend if you need. So like you will be speaking to people all the time on the weekend, that's probably your busiest.
Yep.
People want to know what they can and can't do, we're available, okay? We might not be available right then and there, but we can call back, we've got the ability to do so. We speak to a lot of people over the weekend.
Yeah, fantastic. And so what's happening at the moment with banks and the lending with backlash of the Royal Commission? If you can just give us an overview.
Yeah, cool. So look, the Royal Commission's been had, it showed a lot of misconduct into banking, and the regulators have really been stepping up things with the banks prior to the Royal Commission. So over the last 2 years, regulators have come in and said we need to achieve this. It started off with interest-only lending, and they capped how much lending that the banks could lend year on year. And then the other major part, which is having an effect on borrowing at the moment, is living expenses. Okay, gone are the days when you can go and spend all your money every week and then go buy a property and change your spending habits. Now the banks are reviewing your last 3 to 6 months, reviewing what you spend, and really drilling down to see whether you can change your spending habits to be able to afford the loan. So in the past they've had a set figure. Now we have to advise the figure.
And so also I've heard that the banks are looking at, if you're getting a loan and it's say 3.59%, they're not looking at as if you can make the repayments on that interest rate. They're looking at that, can they make the repayments if it goes up to 7% or 8%? Is that right?
Absolutely. So it all comes back to responsible lending. So, a bank is not going to lend you money based on your income and expenses on a home loan at 4% if you're going to be paying 4%. They're going to have to look and allow for interest rate rises. So the servicing rate that the banks are calculating at the moment are mostly 7.25%. So they're allowing for rate rises in the future, which is a good thing, because you don't want to have a loan now at 4%, not be able to afford and absorb any rate rises. So that's just a responsible lending item that has been around forever. That's never changed.
Yeah, so just on that, the golden question is, are the interest rates going to go up or are they going to come down?
Yeah, I think prior to Christmas and prior to December last year, there was a lot of talk about rates increasing in 2019, but that's definitely, the mindset's definitely changed now that we're into 2019. So it looks like a few of the economists are saying that there's likely to be some rate cuts given. However, we've got rate cuts potentially that could come, but the banks have to pass on the rate cuts too, and that is highly unlikely that they will pass on the full rate cut. Okay, so as most people would know, if they're in lending or they watch the news, rates went up late last year, probably October, November, but most of the banks just went up a fraction just to allow for their additional costs that they say. So there's always rate movements. We don't really actually need the Reserve Bank to make adjustments because the banks are doing it. So what we're hoping for is a rate cut by the Reserve Bank, and
that'd be fantastic.
Hopefully the banks will pass
it on. Yeah. So just wanted to ask you about first home buyers or getting your first loan. So what is a pre-approval? I have a lot of people that say to me, I'm waiting on a pre-approval. So what does that involve, and should someone wait, and what's the benefit of it?
Yeah, so a pre-approval is an approval subject to you finding a property. Okay, so people like myself, a mortgage broker, will collate all the information, still present options to you that are suitable. Once you've made the decision, we'll actually go to that bank and they'll do their income and expenses verifications, make sure that you can afford the loan, and then they'll give you a pre-approval that you can show that you're ready to go, subject to a contract of sale. So in this current market with lending, it's actually very important because you don't want to go and put an offer on a property, fall in love with it, and then not be able to obtain finance.
So it's worth getting.
Definitely worth getting.
And if somebody's going out there and they fall in love with a property and they're sitting down with the agent to submit an offer, and the agent says, how long will you be able to get your finance sorted? In the old days, we used to write up 14 days because the banks pretty well much, sometimes even 10 days, but now it's taking a bit longer. So what should someone actually say when the agent's asking that question? That's
actually really timely. We've just had someone purchase property in the office, and the agent put 7 days for finance. Wow. The broker was pretty much having a heart attack.
Yeah.
There's options there for a quick finance, but not everyone's going to be able to go to that lender, so it makes it very tough. Okay, 21 days at an absolute minimum for a purchase. 28 days is really good because there's a lot of extra work involved with, like, from the broker's side of things and from the bank side of things. However, if you've got a pre-approval, most of those checks are already done. It's really about the property that's being purchased. So if you've got a pre-approval, you can make things happen a bit quicker.
So 21 days?
Yeah, pre-approval you could probably do 14 days.
Yeah, okay. So with first home buyers, what is the grant at the moment? When do they get the grant? And there's also some extra incentives from the state government to help cover settlement costs and fees and that sort of thing?
Yeah, absolutely. So first home buyers grant at the moment, if you buy an established property, so it's been lived in, a little bit older, you don't get a grant from the government, but you'll save on stamp duty. So 0 to 430,000 is no stamp duty, and then it's a discounted rate up into a purchase price of 530,000. If you build, you are going to receive $10,000. Okay, so that's a really good option for building. If you bought a house that was a brand new development, strata unit or an apartment complex that it is established and you're going to move into it, but it's never been lived in, you can also ask for the $10,000 and you'll get it as well. The other one that many people forget about is the first home buyers assistance account. So that is when you purchase a property, you've got some additional costs. You've got a settlement agent, you've got government fees, council rates, all that type of stuff. if you purchase up to $400,000, are a first home buyer, you can apply to get up to $2,000 back to help with those settlement costs.
So all of these first home buyers grant, the extra money from the state government, when do you actually get that?
Yeah, okay, so if you are going to use the first homeowners grant as part of your deposit, which is pretty much 100% of the time, we'll help you manage that process. We'll get the first homeowners grant approved through the bank, and the bank will get those funds prior to settlement, so you don't have to worry about it. You know that those funds will be there for settlement. If you're building though, it's a little bit different. It's worked out in the deposit, what you need to put in. However, you won't get paid the first homeowners grant until the slab goes down, until you actually start building the property.
Building the house, yeah. Because you could buy the land and just sit on the land.
Yeah, so if you buy land and hold on to it, you'll pay stamp duty on the land.
Yeah.
But when you do build, as long as you're going to be moving into that property to live in, you can then claim to have that stamp duty refunded.
Okay. So you've got your first home loan, it's all set up. There's a couple of things maybe in between the actual offer getting accepted and settlement date. So you might have a building or a termite inspection and that sort of thing. So settlement date comes along, you get the keys. When do you actually make your first repayment?
Yeah, okay, so I'll sit down with my clients and we'll do the loan contract, and at that stage is when we'll work out the minimum repayments, how much they want to pay, if they can pay extra. But you can either pay weekly, fortnightly or monthly, depending on the bank. If it's settled on this day and you ask for a monthly repayment, then your first repayment will be due 1 month after settlement. If it's fortnightly, it'll be 1 fortnight after settlement. Okay.
And that's on a principal and interest?
That's on a principal and interest home loan. If you have an interest-only home loan, it depends on the lender you go to. There's different rules with those repayments. It could be the last business day of the month. So you just got to make sure you understand the lender that you're going to and how they work out the repayment.
All right, fantastic. So